And welcome to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg. I'm Dr. Greg Cason. This is where psychology meets everyday life. And I'm here with producer Brian Gomez.
Happy Monday, you guys.
Hey, Brian. And on the board is Jamie.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Jamie. Welcome. Well, today on Off the Couch, we're going to do kind of a special episode because it's very timely for what we're going through. We're talking about the holidays. You didn't expect that, did you? No. Why do the holidays, we're going to go this week in psychology, we're going to talk about a study about the holidays come faster for some people, but not for other people. And we're going to talk about why that is. And if you want the holidays to slow down, there might be some things to do. Also, holiday tips, tricks, and hacks for dealing with a messier holiday season. And that we probably will talk about a little bit more pertinent information. We're going to even talk about how to deal with a family member who wants to have a political argument. Heavens to Betsy. But first, we have to talk about psychology in the news. We did have a big piece of news since we were, we were here a couple of times, but, I wasn't ready to say anything. But I found an article that really kind of perked me up, it made me very interested. This was from the Philadelphia Inquirer. This is by a woman named Erin McCarthy. And the title of the article is Yoga, Meditation, and Mental Health Businesses See Surge in Business. So, this bottom line is the 2024 presidential results led to a surge in demand for wellness services in Philadelphia. Now, as you know, Philadelphia is a largely blue city within a very, bespeckled. Philadelphia, as we know, Pennsylvania is a swing state, and it swung red this year. But so people who were in Philadelphia, they were very affected by this in some negative ways. They said they saw a surge in demand from yoga studios, meditation centers, and mental health professionals. There was one yoga studio, Tuck Bar and Yoga in Philly, saw a 15% rise in attendance post-election. They saw increased emotional they noticed people crying in classes and people sighing and crying in classes. And they saw new faces and higher class bookings across their 3 locations.
That makes sense. What did you work out the next day after the election?
I believe I did. Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did because I remember when I went to work out after one election, which I didn't want to do. And I really appreciated the trainer at the gym, like it was a class and it was a woman. And I really liked this woman named Vicky, and she did this weights class. And Vicky said, well, I guess we're all going to watch the world burn or something. This was a different election. And it was a little over the top, but I really kind of appreciated her going, we're all on the same team here. Whatever. This year, I didn't notice anyone talking about it. In fact, I saw that across the board in so many places. People did mention it privately, but publicly, people were very muted. I think because, as I described, to many people, this election was a gut punch. They didn't expect the results.
Yeah, I agree with you. I felt like we all had gotten a lot of hope when we had lost it right before this, and I feel like we all kind of got excited. And even I feel like people that were a bit skeptical were like, okay, I feel like we're going in the right direction. And I agree with you. It felt like a big gut punch.
The only people I've heard from are the people who are the know-it-alls who said, I knew this would happen. I'm like, okay, well, good, Cassandra. You should have spoken up. I don't know. Anyway. But anyway, I don't know even what that does. They just want to be right, I guess.
Yeah, I did. Somebody on Instagram posted that there was a guy at the gym with a big American flag that wasn't even working out, but just wanted to start conflict with anybody. But it's I feel like you said on our side, we're just kind of sad.
Yeah.
A little destroyed about the decision that happened.
A little bit of a gut punch. So meditation apps too. You've used Calm or Headspace. Have either of you used those?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Excuse me. Calm and Headspace reported significant user engagements. Calm saw a 30% increase in downloads the next day.
Wow.
And Headspace subscriptions grew by 13%. I mean, this seemed pretty significant to me. And special collections, apparently Headspace has a collection called Politics Without Panic. That also got a great deal of users, more than it had in the past.
Yeah, I feel like we were all struggling the next day. Even getting on your phone was kind of overwhelming with just everything you would see from either side. It was just a lot to take in and just to process, I feel like. It was hard to do like any regular day-to-day tasks, even work or anything like that. I was telling people like to go walk on long walks or like hang out with friends that were like on the same side and had like the same point of view on certain things, because I feel like that kind of soothes the burn a little bit more.
Brian, that's great advice.
Yeah, I went and got like wood and created like a garden planter box, because for me that is therapeutic, and it's one way I can unplug from my phone completely, and I'm just focused on that. And in a really crappy day at the end of like my project, I was so happy with what I had created, so that was my way of dealing through the day. But yeah, I mean, everybody needed soothing that next day for sure.
There's a principle in psychology that we often look at. We can look at it from different angles, but the recommendation, essentially the principle is miserable people love miserable company. Like misery loves misery. And that seems counterintuitive. Like you wouldn't want to be around someone miserable because they'll pull you down. No, in fact, it seems like the people help each other raise back up. If you're already feeling good and you're around someone miserable, that might have, if you're not prepared for that, that might pull you down. It might have the other effect too. But but miserable people love miserable company, essentially.
Yeah. And it was nice. I had a few friends, close friends, call, and we called each other, just to make sure we were all okay and how we were feeling. And, it's good to talk it out too,
So Black Lotus Holistic Health Collective, which, I mean, they have this in Philadelphia. I've never even seen such a thing, but it sounded very cool. They have therapy, yoga, crisis counseling. They have dance classes. They had, you name it. Like they have a juice bar, I'm sure. I don't know, but it sounds like they would. They have like every wellness service, and they have accessible wellness services. I mean, this sounds like a pretty cool place. They hosted a grounding and calm event during the election, and they saw this complete spike in need. Like people apparently flooded this place. Increase in demand for services, including crisis counseling and sound therapy. And the head of the place had to go out and do remote sound therapy sessions with like companies and things.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, I thought this was pretty cool. They were doing it. And, what does the sound therapy work? Yeah, I think it does for some people. It's calming. It's nice. But I think it's the fact that we're, people sitting together and healing together that is probably the most important piece.
I agree with you. That sharing that same energy and in the same moment,
Here's this, private meditation sessions at a place called Veda Den. I won't go into all this. They really focused on acceptance of what is and emotional regulation. And I talk a lot about emotional regulation, which is keeping your emotions into a bandwidth in which they're most helpful for the action you're going to take. So you don't want to be either too extreme on one end or too low on the other. You want the emotion to match the situation. And that's what we use, emotional regulation, but also acceptance. And I know that helped me is I had to move into radical acceptance, which is looking at exactly what is and not demanding it be anything other than it is.
I agree with you on that, because it took a lot for me to get on Instagram and post like an encouraging video of people to go to the gym, people to go on walks, instead of getting on Instagram and spewing hate for the results of the election, which a lot of people can go into that side, but it's not helpful whatsoever at all.
Well, unless you're the miserable person who wants to see something like that. I suppose that's the one thing. But I think this is interesting because this is quite a contrast to the previous election when a lot of people would not accept reality. Mm-hmm. So this was an interesting flip. The people, I've heard a lot of people talking about acceptance.
And like I said, we also have gone through this once before, and we survived it. I know it feels a lot scarier.
Scars.
It feels a lot scarier, but like we were able to handle it in some way, you know?
What I love about what your statement you made is no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you can probably identify with that statement. We've been through this before.
Mm-hmm. And we're still here.
And we're still here.
So that was my thing. It's like, I know this happened. I got to move forward from this at this point. I can't just drown in it.
Here's another thing that came out. This wasn't in that article. It was in a different article. But post-election surge in morning after pill sales. The next day, this is following Donald Trump's presidential election victory, online sales of emergency contraceptives soared. Retailers reported significant spikes in sales driven by fears of restricted access, which, I mean, we already saw that is a valid concern in at least 26 states. Is it 26 now? I'm not keeping up. But they looked at two different online sexual health organizations. One's called WISP. Have either of you heard of this? WISP.
No.
It's an online sexual. They do morning after pills. They reported a 1,000% increase in sales the day after the election. They saw that 90% of their orders, 9 out of 10 of their orders, were for multi-packs of morning after pills. Not just one, but a whole bunch.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be too personal, but that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm upset with one of my siblings from back home, that he was supporting Trump. And when he was in high school, I took him to get the morning after pill for his girlfriend. And it's just very upsetting that it's like you are taking that away from like your girlfriend that you're still with, thank God, and you guys just had a baby a year ago, that it's like if you would have had the baby back then, your life would have been a lot different. So that's why personally I'm like, I don't know how you could be so coward to the whole situation, or what a hypocrite, you know?
It's a good question.
So that's why I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's a good question. There's a kind of another thing that a lot of people are like, you know, what is good for thee is not true for me, or what's good for me is not true for thee. Like I live in a different world than you do, so you can't have access, but I can. And I think that's concerning.
Yeah, it's very selfish. That's why that's the point to that. So,
also an organization called Winx Health, WINX. I love that these organizations, I had to look them up because I'm like, I hadn't heard of this. Winx Health saw a 315% rise in sales of their Restart pill, which is a morning after pill. So the reasons behind the surge, you can guess: fear of political restriction under the new administration. Of course, we already saw that with the Supreme Court that was implemented by him, and that they moved to restrict or to undo Roe v. Wade, which then the states took up to restrict abortion access. And there's the current administration, which is under Joe Biden. They've been trying to make it so that people can still secure the morning after pill online. And there are fears that what that administration is doing will be undone by the next administration. So, I mean, these are real world consequences. There is stockpiling for personal use and sharing with friends and family. That's very generous of them. And confusion in states with strict abortion laws about access to emergency contraception. Like I just said, it is unclear sometimes if they can get a hold of it, especially by mail order. So we know that the holidays are a stressful season. And I think this holiday season coming up is going to be especially stressful. There was actually a survey done by the Harris poll. I got this from the American Psychological Association. The latest one I have from the Harris poll was from November 14th and 16th of 2023. So exactly a year ago. But because it was a year ago, I don't think this poll on how stress is really measures what's going on. Jamie, can you put up the first one, which is changes in stress levels during the holiday season? 41% of people said stress increases for them. 52% of people say that the stress stays about the same. And a very lucky 7% says the holidays are less stressful for them. What is it for you, Brian?
They're not too stressful, honestly, because since I was in the military, I'm used to being away from home. So I would always just kind of be away from home. Even if like I'm around, I'll probably stay home this year too.
Sometimes going home is more stressful.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, to fly to Texas and then to see where I'm going to stay. And now I have a dog, so it's like either she comes with me or somebody has to watch her.
Once you got a baby, there's just no turning back. You got to deal with that.
And then again, like I said, with the whole political thing, it's a little like, I definitely don't want to go to Texas, first of all. And then, with my whole family thing, I'm like, I'd rather just avoid it.
Right on. How about you, Jamie?
I'm spending, since I'm here for the fall in LA, I will not be going home for this Thanksgiving. But I think normally when I do get to spend time with family, most of the time it ends up being like pretty positive and not super stressful, at least like publicly. Internally, it's just like, people like to make the different comments and, they say one thing, it'll sort of tick you off for like the whole day. And you're kind of like, all right, now I have to spend this whole season with you. And it's like, okay, I'm kind of over it pretty quickly.
Right on. Taking your life into your own hands. That's a good thing to do. Once when I was 19, I lived in New York City, which I believe I mentioned. My roommate and I were going to stay, I wasn't flying home because I couldn't afford it. And he was from upstate New York, and for some reason he wasn't going up. So we stayed in town for Thanksgiving, and we went to a deli. Not a deli, one of those little mercados, I forget what they're called, like the little markets, like the, markets, and then they have like these big salad bars, and we both just got giant salads for Thanksgiving, which I thought would be the coolest idea, like a huge salad that probably cost $20 because it weighed 20 pounds because I got so much, whatever it was. And that was fun, but I remember thinking, I like Thanksgiving food better. So, there was a trade.
Yeah, I get that. In the military, we would go to like the Chinese buffets right outside of base. And that would be like, if a group of us didn't go home, because it's not cheap or,
it is not
fly
cheap
around the country either. So sometimes you got to, take one for the team and sit out. And it's nice to just still do something, even if it's not with your family, but at least having close friends.
It is
nice.
Always good to have people around you no matter what. So even if it's you go to a restaurant alone, I don't think that's wasted. I think that's actually good because you're around people. Let's talk about the causes of stress during the holiday season. This from the same survey. Nearly 9 in 10 U.S. adults say something causes them stress during the holiday season. So almost, the majority of people, even if they don't report that they're more stressed, there are acute stressors for all of us. Buying gifts, going to parties, hosting a party, hosting a meal, et cetera, et cetera. The 10 most commonly reported, I'll just run down through them. Spending too much time or having enough money to spend. I think money is spending too much or not having enough money to spend. I think money's the big one, 58%. Finding the right gifts, 40%. That is one that always gets me. Because that's really hard. Missing family or loved ones, 38%. That's unfortunate. Having too much to do, that also hits me. I identified that, 32%. Feeling pressured to make the holiday special. I pretty much never feel that. Like I like to do it when I can, and if I don't, I'm completely forgiving. we're going to talk about those perfectionists out there. I guess I do not have that gene in me, but 30% of people do. Food and alcohol related issues, like too much usually. Not being able to spend time or be with family or loved ones, that's 25%. Experiencing or anticipating family conflict, 22%. And I wanted to stop there because I wanted to just point out that I think that's going to be higher this year. So it's 22%, 1 in 5, that's the baseline. I'll be curious to see what this survey, when it does come out, what the difference will be in that particular category of anticipating family conflict. Also feeling left out or excluded, that's 20%. Again, I think it'll be higher this year. And traveling, 19%. I wonder if it'll be lower because some people will choose not to do it.
That's true. Because the holidays, it's always crazy, like chaos in LAX.
It's chaos in LAX, and this is why I have to say I'm happy to live where all my family lives. Because the holiday seasons, it's easy. It's easy. I go, whose house am I going to go to? What am I going to do? I'm here.
I do like LA whenever it's the holiday season because it's a lot quieter. There's not as much traffic. So there is an upside to that.
Jamie, have you been here during the between Christmas and New Year?
No, my first time here was back in August, so...
Okay.
I'm...
Prepare yourself for a really pleasant week that you won't want to end.
Can't wait.
Because all of a sudden, it'll be a third of the traffic. People will be super pleasant. And...
Nice change.
It will be. Yeah, nice change. It will be nice.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can say about LA. We do that week very well.
Yeah, it's nice. It's soothing.
I think it's, I hate to say it, but all the stress bombs left because they're all stressed and had to leave and go wherever they're from. And then all the people that live here, they're cool. Like, that's it. Like, we're good. Yeah. And I think just things calm down. People bitch about LA that, I always hear stories about people leaving LA. And to a person, I'm like, everyone I talk to in LA is like, what's the problem with that? I don't understand. Like, no one understands the problem. Where housing is expensive. It's hard to get. Jobs are hard to get. They're not hard to get, but I guess they're easy. But you know what I mean. Like, things are just tough in this city. Very expensive. And if there were less people, that wouldn't be the worst thing. But.
Yeah, even like with the study that you were talking about right now with the buying gifts, I was thinking of like the parents that not only have to like pay all the bills and everything, but then you have to get your kids a whole bunch of presents too.
And then you have to get your kids presents.
Oh, that's a lie. That's all a lie.
Poor parents. I feel for them. Yeah. I feel for parents because what do you do?
And it's expensive right now for an adult, so I'm confused how they're doing it as parents. Right?
Believe me, I question it all the time. I'm like, do they earn twice as much? I don't get it. Like, some people are just amazing. But they deal with their kids, and I think it's tough. I think parents, it's just tough.
It's a tough
unless
job.
They have help. So let's move to, tell me what each of you, do you believe that the holidays are coming quicker this year, or are they... seem far away still?
Well, I don't know if it's like as we get older, just time starts to just fly. Because I just feel like it's just flying.
That
like,
is true. We'll talk about it. We'll talk
grasp
about
of
that
it.
sometime. Yes, that is true. But so you do believe, yes, the holidays are coming quicker?
Everything, I feel like.
And what about you, Jamie? Do you believe they're coming quicker, or do you believe it's just sort of the same?
I think it kind of feels like it, because especially, hate to say it, but with it's getting warmer so much that like it used to, at least when I was a kid, like Christmas, it was always like when it started to get colder, you were like, oh yay, I'm getting excited for like the winter like season. And now it's kind of just like, oh, we're still going and it's still like 70 degrees. It's just also Christmas now. I feel like my like sense of time.
Welcome to LA. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Excited to be here.
No, it's so true. Unfortunately, you're in a place that it's very strange with weather. We are experiencing more warm days. So yes, that is happening. But ever since I was a little kid, I used to think, is Christmas always 70 degrees and sunny? Because it was always 70 degrees and sunny, like no overcast. I didn't know what. And I lived down by the beach where it usually there's overcast. So I used to think it was kind of magic that Christmas was always really good weather. Now we've had Christmases that have rained, and we've had not good weather Christmases, but once we even had hail. But
Wow.
I mean, that's almost snow. But in general, it is that's the weather. It will get colder as we approach January, February. So,
Wow. Well, can't wait to experience that.
Where are you from originally? I'm sorry. Where
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Oh,
Yeah.
well. I mean, so you traded some very beautiful cold places for a beautiful-ish hot place, warm place.
I'd say so far it's pretty beautiful.
Oh, I know.
At least for the most part.
I know. But I've been with her for so long, this city, that I don't always see her beauty.
Fair.
So it's good for me to always see it through other people's eyes. So, do the holidays come quicker? This was from a journal, an online journal called PLOS, PLOS 1. And this is from July 2024. It was an interesting thing because research shows that people who enjoy the holidays often feel they come quicker. So it's not just the time dilation or whatever you were talking about. It is actually, if you like the holidays, they seem to come faster because we are always looking forward to it. And we'll talk about the reasons. So key findings, 76% of British participants felt that Christmas came quicker each year. And 70% of Iraqi participants felt the same about Ramadan. So it's not exclusive to Christmas. It's just the holiday season. And enjoyment of holidays increases the perception of quicker recurrence. Factors influencing the perception is frequent thoughts about time's passage. So we're thinking, we only have 2 more weeks until we only have 1 more week. Oh gosh, only so many shopping days, whatever it is. So that actually makes time go faster because you're almost trying to slow it down, but it makes it go faster. Then if you have prospective memory problems, let me talk about what a prospective memory problem is. It's forgetting planned tasks. So it would be forgetting to buy a gift or forgetting to send a card. If you forget something that you have to do, especially something in the future, then you think, oh shoot, time is moving so fast. I didn't think to do that, or I didn't get to go to the store. Now tomorrow is so and so. So makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, stronger social connections lead to a quicker perception. Isn't that nice? So people who really like the holidays and like other people and have strong connections see the holidays as coming very quickly, probably because they want to do things like make a meal or go to parties or buy things. Or I like to go to Christmas shows, which I know is kind of goony. I'm going to go see Wicked at the Pantages here. Not Wicked the movie, Wicked the play. I'm going to go see it on the 23rd of December.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Aw.
I wanted to do it for Christmas. I thought it'd be fun. And I can't believe they're having a Monday night show, which is extremely, in the theater world, that's extremely unusual, but they're doing it for the holiday. I'm sure it's the understudies I'll see. I thought about it later. I'm like, probably I'm going to see the understudies on a Monday night before Christmas, but so be it.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. Sometimes understudies are great. Okay. Insights on time perception. Time perception is shaped by attention to the passage of time. So when you pay attention to time, it moves differently. Age does not significantly impact this perception. But Brian, that is what this study said. That's what they put. There is a time. Just to defend you on the other side, there is a theory that says as we get older, because we're always comparing to the past, time starts to appear faster to us. Because it's sort of like when you're 5, it's like, oh my God, I'm only in my 5th year. It's like you have this big dilation of time in front of you. It just seems, and you'll never be, you're 5, you'll never be 6. Like, when do I get to go to 1st grade? And then when do I get to go to 2nd grade?
I remember wanting to grow up so fast.
Oh.
And now I'm like, wait, I take it back.
All I wanted to do was be 18. And then I wanted to be, then I won 21. So.
And then 25 for insurance.
And then 25 so I could rent a car. Yeah. And then we wanted to slow things down.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, 30. Okay, can we stop now?
I'm like, this is good. We'll stay
Doesn't
here.
stop. I want to talk about the hacks and tips for the holiday season. I have a bunch of them here to help you through a difficult time. Going home for the holidays. I'm going to talk about 6 mistakes and what to do with them. So, number 1, going home without your partner because your parents disapprove. We have yes, there you go. And this is 2 gay men I have up there. I had AI make it. That's what they came up with. Made worse by your partner's angst or upset. So if you decide to go home with your partner, then you want to make sure your parents are cool. If you want to go home with your partner without your partner because your parents are not cool and your partner gets upset, then that can cause problems within the relationship. So you have to figure this out. You have to figure out, who's my family here? And I think people need to understand that if they're with a relationship, that if their partner wants to go home with the person for Christmas, that means a lot to them. Some people don't care. So cool with them. Like, let it be. But if they want to really go home with you to meet your family, then that would be a good thing to do. What I would say it's not good, but is in every Christmas music, is to bring a brand new person home without ever having them met your family. Like, that happens a lot in Christmas movies. And in Christmas movies, they often surprise. Like, surprise, I brought my new boyfriend home, and the whole family's in shock. They do that in Christmas movies because it's a great device to, like, create conflict. That's all. So, okay, it's made worse by your partner. So here's my advice to you if you want to bring your partner home and your parents disapprove and the two of you want to go home. Like, that's probably the most common scenario. Give your parents a choice. It's like they're 2 years old. You give them, you can pick this outfit or this outfit. You get a choice. No third choice. Here's the choice. Either come home with your husband, wife, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or don't come home at all. The two of you are a package deal. This says to your relationship, we're together. And it also says to your parents that if you don't respect my relationship, I can't step into your house. What's coming up for you, Brian?
Well, I'm just wondering.
Thoughts.
Yeah, because I am. Because is this also a situation that you should, like, if say before you even get to that point with somebody in a relationship, is this something that should be discussed? Like, hey, my parents aren't cool with, like, me being gay or something, because, like,
oh yeah, I would hope that came up. Well,
I know, but, like, it would be. I feel like then that person should decide if that's something they want to jump into, right?
Yeah. No, there may be one, the person, let's say, person with the parents who don't like gay people and don't like the person being gay may not want to come out to their parents. That's one scenario. But that's a scenario that's especially hard on relationships. When one is out and one is not, and they have to fake the phone calls, and why do we live together? Why are we roommates? All this stuff, like this kind of scenario, I've seen take a toll on relationships. It's fairly significant. The scenario where the parents do know about the person's sexuality or whatever else it is, knew about the person's partner. It could be an interracial partner, if it's heterosexual, but it's interracial, or interfaith, like Jewish and Catholic, let's say, and maybe each parent doesn't like someone from the other religion, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it could be a bunch of different things, but they would have to kind of know and be able to say, I want to go home, and they could say, you can't bring someone like that into our house. Well, then you say, if you want to side with your parents, it's going to be destructive to the relationship. If you side with your partner, it's going to strengthen the relationship, but hopefully your parents would recover, but some parents don't. Some parents are very rigid. And I don't know. I mean, People ride that line a long time, but they eventually have to land somewhere.
Gotcha. It's just, I mean, it happens. That's why I'm like, dang, it's a big factor to a relationship with like their upbringing and their parents that I feel like not everybody addresses it as such an important thing in relationships.
Not everybody addresses it, but I had a boss once. He's gay, and he went with his, he died, passed. But he told me about I met his parents. They were wonderful, but very, very conservative, from the middle of the country, very, very conservative. And he was going to bring his partner home, and they said, okay, we're going to, you can bring your partner home for the holidays. He did, and the parents set up 2 separate bedrooms and said, when you're in our house, you have to sleep in 2 separate bedrooms. So they did, and he was very upset by this. But I'll hand it to this guy about how he handled it. He then, when his parents came out to visit him, he arranged 2 separate bedrooms and said, if you're going to stay in my house, you have to sleep in 2 separate bedrooms. And they had a coming to Jesus, so to speak, and thought, oh, we understand now what we did. They didn't understand before because he was upset, but they were like, it's our house. You have to follow our rules. So he just made the same rule for his house.
That is beautiful, honestly. Wow. I love that.
So the next one is planning the perfect dinner party. Personally, I think there are only 2 things that are perfect dinner party material. Martha Stewart's house and the baby Jesus. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe that. That's it. That's the only perfect thing. But look at the AI pic. I have a perfect dinner party. That's actually the party. There's another one that's a dinner party. But it's like perfection. Christmas tree, people eating. Yeah, there we go. Just everyone super happy. Everyone having like similar hairstyles. This is AI. What do you do? But here's a turkey and a cherry pie and a rhubarb pie and God only knows what, like a lot of stuff. That sounds really amazing. I have seen those houses, but I mean, why do we try to be that? It's really such a high bar. So my tip here is, rather than trying to impress others, help others feel comfortable. To me, this is the height of etiquette, is when you're helping others feel comfortable and welcome. That's what they'll remember, not the perfect table setting or the perfect music or the perfect scents. If they feel comfortable, they'll feel good. And when people strive for perfection, they're often very stressed and other people don't feel comfortable. But if you're just like, oh, burn the rolls, and everyone laughs about it, cool, everyone's good. People remember how you made them feel over everything else. So that really is the number one thing. Make others feel comfortable, make them feel good, help them feel welcome. And if your son, daughter, I don't know, cousin brings a partner that you in your mind do not approve of, make that person feel comfortable. Put your stuff in the back, because that person's a guest in your home, and welcome them with open arms. And to me, that's true holiday spirit.
I love that tip. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Like, I mean, you don't really think about it when you're trying to make it all perfect and look beautiful.
No, you don't.
That you're like, oh, wait, my friends are what matters,
Also, another one is coming out at the holiday table. This is not about just sexual orientation. It can be about marriage, adoption, sobriety, HIV status. To me, that's not good to do anything at the holiday table, because then you make it about you, not them. So my advice is, tell them 2 days before or 2 days after. The day before the holiday and the day after the holiday are still buffer zones that are about the holiday. But if you need to give information to somebody, then it's good to make a special appointment. If it's only on this one trip, then just do it one of those other days. But at the holiday table, not so much. If you drink too much, Mothers Against Drunk Driving estimates that drunk driving accounts for 52% of all traffic deaths during the holiday season. So people, take an Uber, take a cab, any car service. And my big tip here is to alternate between alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. And what I would do, honestly, is when you go there, have a non-alcoholic drink first. Start that way.
I have heard that advice. I haven't tried it yet, but I have heard that.
Something I do too is eat before I go to a party. I eat before I go, and that's actually a good idea to do with all dinner parties and things. Eat before you go, because then you're perfectly fine. You can absorb alcohol, and you won't eat as much, and you know.
And sometimes the food isn't good.
Sometimes
so
it's bad.
It's best to eat before.
People typically gain 1 to 2 pounds during the holiday seasons. Most never lose it, so over many years that adds up. And be wary of food pushers. You know what a food pusher is? Here, have one of these deviled eggs. And you're like, I don't like deviled eggs. Oh, come on, try them. I made them just for you. Well, I don't like them. Here, have one. Come on, try it.
I hate eggs.
So my advice to people is be firm but polite. And if you need to, you can put your hand on their shoulder and say, thank you, but no. That usually will stop somebody, interestingly enough, if you just make that contact and we're very firm, not wishy-washy, like, oh, I don't know, maybe, blah, blah. No, that doesn't work. Thank you, but no. And then the other piece of advice, if you really can't get the food pusher, take the food, go, oh, it looks beautiful. When they turn their back, you can set it down somewhere.
Can you say that you have an allergy to something in the food?
Yeah, I don't like to lie about stuff.
Yeah.
You could. You can say it. I'm allergic to fattening food.
Or gluten. I feel like everybody's allergic to gluten.
I'm not allergic to gluten. I am like, I want to go to a gluten restaurant. Is there a gluten restaurant that has nothing but milk products as the drinks? I would be so happy. Just milk and gluten. Is that bad?
No. It would be fun.
And yeah, and probably peanuts for dessert. I don't know. Like all the big ones.
All the allergies.
All the allergies. Okay. Also, at holiday meals, texting, grinding, emailing, people who get on their phones at a holiday gathering, this is a special insult. This says that what's on the telephone is more important than the people in the room. This is a big one. So if you must do it, you're like, oh my God, I got to answer this text. You tell the other person what it is. You include them in on it. That's one way, because then it's no longer you sending a message of, I don't care about you. I'm focusing on this electronic device and talking to a mystery person. That's probably a text, so they're not even immediately there. Or if you cannot share it because it's something like a dick pic, then I have an AI pic of somebody looking at a dick pic with the family seeing it. Take it to a place where you typically engage in bad behavior. What's that? The bathroom. That's what we do a lot of bad behavior in the bathroom. Well, I don't know.
No comment.
I'm going to go through some real quick holiday tips. Sorry. If you're a host of an event, underwhelm yourself, set realistic goals, small steps, give each invited guest a special task. That actually will help people feel like they're important and they're doing something to help you. And when people do something they believe is helping you, they'll like you better and they'll like the party better. So quite literally, oh, can you carry this hors d'oeuvre tray around? Or can you get some, can you answer the door? I have to attend to what's in the oven. People really actually like those things, so don't be afraid to do that. Spend special time with each guest, 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes is all that's needed, but you need to acknowledge each person, make them feel seen and heard, and give permission for others to screw up. Ignore it and move on. People will break things, drop things, say the wrong thing, and if you're the host and you do that, give yourself a break. Everyone's been in that position. If you're the guest, make it about the host and the other people in the room, not you. Compliment the host. Try to hit 3 specific areas. Compliment the house, the person, the food. Be specific. The garden looks beautiful. I love that dress you're wearing, and this turkey is divine. Underindulge. That's really important. If you're a guest, indulging leaves you with poor judgment, and you might say something you wish you didn't, and make others feel welcome. You're not the host, but believe it or not, if you're a guest who's like, oh, hi, my name is so-and-so, or, oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a year. How have you been? That helps everyone feel welcome. And if you're not, you're too shy, then, help refill the snack tray or something like that. That helps. Also, I want to talk about constructive arguing really quickly. Understanding belief perseverance. People tend to hold on to beliefs due to cognitive ease. So it's easier to hold on to whatever belief we have. Bottom line, changing beliefs requires mental time and effort. And political beliefs are particularly resistant to change, and they rely on stereotypes. So people, this is not the time to try to change anyone's mind about the politics of things. If someone is standing up and they're insisting on having a political discussion, try to avoid conflict, steer clear of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in conversations, criticism, being defensive, having contempt for the other person, or withdrawing altogether like you just close up. I believe that's a picture of a guy standing up yelling at the party, Jamie. Yes. Rules for constructive arguing. Show positive understanding. I get where you're coming from. Exhibit rationality. Stay calm and avoid raising your voice. Be concise and specific. Avoid generalizations. Respect other viewpoints. And ask questions. A strategy I use is LEAP, listen. This is a good one. I think it's very easy. LEAP, leap, listen. Like if you want to influence beliefs, if you actually want to make way, start this way. Listen. Start by recognizing where the person is coming from. Try to repeat it back to them. Say, okay, so you believe this and this, and repeat back their own words. Make sure you understand and try to understand their point of view. Try to empathize, see it through their point of view, see it through their eyes, and agree where you can. They may say 99 things and you agree with 3. But say, oh, yeah, that. Okay, yeah. No, you're right. Eggs did go up. And your partner with them. Suggest alternatives that align with their goals, but may challenge their beliefs. Like, oh, have you looked anywhere besides your local grocery store for eggs? I mean, I'm just wondering what strategies you've used to ascertain that. So, and general holiday survival. If you've received a horrible gift, the fix. Don't say anything.
Say you like it.
No, you don't even have to say you like it. This is what you say. You take the gift, you look at it, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, look at it, find one positive thing to say about it. What a beautiful color. Oh, I love this material. Even though you're like, oh, I'm not going to wear this. Don't ask for the gift receipt. If it's in there, go, oh, well, thank you. I mean, that's so sweet, but let me look at it a little bit later. Then put it in your gift pile. Give the giver a warm eye-to-eye thank you. Thank you so much, because it's about the thought. And then redistribute it later. What? Is that wrong?
No, but now I know.
If you personally hear an off-color joke, the best response is no response, believe it or not, because one thing, somebody who's saying something off-color, they know what they're saying, and they want you to either be offended or to take issue with them. If you ignore them and they say it again and you keep ignoring them, they're like, hey, did you hear me? And you're like, yeah, I did. That's it. Because one thing nobody likes is crickets when they say something. They want some reaction, but nobody likes no reaction. If you're running late, this seems intuitive to me, but a lot of people don't seem to get it. If you're a guest, notify the host. I'm running late. Humble apologies. Humble apologies. I'm heading and giving the ETA. And bring a good wine. The fix for hosts, don't punish or teach your late guest a lesson. You welcome them. You catch them up on what's happening. Get them food and drink. Remember, people will remember how they felt. They won't remember anything else. And if you shame them the minute they walk in, that's what they'll remember. So, also, unwanted people hitting on you. The fix, your only choice is to excuse yourself to the restroom and leave the party without notice. Did I write this? That's maybe not your only choice, but it would be a good choice. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? This isn't good. I'm not going to sit around with drunk, supervisor trying to hit on me at this party. I think it's time for me to leave. But a smart guest always prepares to leave a party at the moment of his arrival. So if you go to a party, think, okay, when am I going to leave? I think it's always a smart thing to do. And have an exit plan in mind. You may not keep it, but you may wish to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it, folks. I mean, I don't know about you, but that seemed to be a lot of tips and tricks. I don't know how we're going to survive this holiday season, though. It's going to be a rough one.
I feel like if also it's going to be too much, like you just know it's going to be intense, it's okay not to go. Like, we are all adults, I would say.
We are all, well, I mean, except for the children.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother. That's when I couldn't wait to become an adult. But now that I am, we all have the choice not to engage, interact, or involve ourselves in those toxic environments.
That's the thing. If I would say, I made a joke, but, being a child, sometimes you are forced to be in a toxic environment. And I really feel for those kids, the gay kids, the trans kids that, have any kind of alternative viewpoint or point of view, like anything that's going on that puts them at odds with their own family, and they have to hear sometimes some very hateful messages. And I think that's the toughest road of all. So if you can be respectful to all people in front of your children, they may benefit from that rather than be destroyed by it. So, yeah. Okay, I guess that wraps us up. That wraps up the show for today. Remember to like, subscribe, give us 5 stars. Links to my studies, go to the YouTube page at youtube.com/Dr. Greg. Also, if you have questions or topics, hit us up on the socials at Ask Dr. Greg. Brian's going to check those because I haven't been. And this is Dr. Greg, Brian, and Jamie bidding you farewell. Be present, be flexible, and be kind.